It's 3:27 a.m. Hear her moving in the kitchen again. Slow steps on the laminate floor. The fridge door clicks open, light spilling under the crack of her bedroom door. I don't get up anymore when she does that. I just listen. She always takes the same things out: a bottle of water, sometimes yogurt, sometimes nothing at all. I can tell by the way the door shuts if she's finished. We still live together. She said she wanted a break. I remember her saying it like she was offering me mercy, like she thought that would somehow make it easier. But it doesn't feel like mercy. It feels like I'm being erased, one ordinary night at a time. I still ask her, sometimes, not dramatically. I just ask if she wants to have dinner, or if she wants to watch something, or if she wants to talk. She always says no in the same quiet, steady way. No irritation, no anger, just a clean, even refusal. It's that steadiness that gets to me. It's too calm. It's like she rehearsed it. She doesn't even look up anymore when she says it. She just stays on her phone, or wipes the counter, or walks past me. I can feel myself shrinking when she does that. Like every word I say is getting smaller, lighter, less necessary. At night, I lie in bed and listen to her moving through the apartment. Her steps are the only sound that still feels real. I used to know them by heart. The way she'd hum sometimes when she thought no one was listening. Now it's just silence between us. A silence that doesn't feel natural. It feels shaped, deliberate, like she's teaching me how to disappear from her life without her having to ask. I can't sleep most nights. I think about the way she used to touch my shoulder when she walked past me. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. That small contact used to mean something. Now I can't remember the last time she brushed against me, even by accident. I try not to notice, but I do. I notice everything now. The new scent of her shampoo. The way she keeps her door slightly open at night, not closed all the way like before. The stack of books on her nightstand that I've never seen her read. I used to think love was made of big things, shared plans, arguments, long talks. Turns out it's the small, unthinking gestures that vanish first, and once they're gone, the air between you starts to rot a little. She doesn't seem angry. That's the worst part. I could live with anger. Anger means there's still something burning, but she's just still, controlled, like she's waiting for the clock to run out. Sometimes I stand outside her door. I don't knock. I just stand there for a moment, listening. I tell myself it's harmless. I tell myself I'm only trying to remember how it used to sound when she breathed in her sleep. But I know that's not really what I'm doing. I think I'm waiting to feel something again. I've asked her if she's seeing someone else. She said no. Then she looked at me in that detached, patient way that makes me feel like a child asking a question I should already know the answer to. She said, "I just need space." I wanted to tell her that space doesn't mean living in the same apartment, cooking in the same kitchen, pretending we're strangers. But I didn't say it. I just nodded, because that's what I do now. I nod, I retreat, I go quiet. Every night I tell myself I won't ask her again. And every night I do. It's not even about wanting her to say yes anymore. It's about hearing her voice, about watching the way her mouth forms the word no. There's a kind of rhythm to it, predictable, almost soothing, like she's training me to accept it. Sometimes she smiles when she says it. This small, polite smile that doesn't reach her eyes. That smile makes something twist in my chest, slow and deep. I keep telling myself that this is temporary, that people take breaks all the time. But deep down I think I already know. This isn't a pause, it's a slow fade out. I started to notice little changes in how she talks to me. Fewer words, shorter sentences, no questions. She doesn't ask how my day was anymore. I don't think she even hears my answers when I try to tell her. Once, she left a mug on the counter. There was a lipstick print on it. Red, faint, almost perfect. I stared at it for a long time before I washed it off. It felt like erasing a trace of her that wasn't meant for me. Every rejection leaves something behind, a quiet residue that you can't clean up. She's still kind in small, distant ways. She says thank you when I make coffee. She holds the door open when I'm behind her. But there's no warmth, just politeness. I think that's worse than cruelty. It's easier to hate cruelty. Politeness makes you question whether you imagined the connection in the first place. Last week, I tried to touch her hand, just once. We were both reaching for the same thing in the fridge. My fingers brushed hers for less than a second. She froze, then pulled away as if it was an accident. She didn't say anything. She just closed the door and walked back to her room. I stood there, staring at my hand, wondering why it felt like I'd done something wrong. I keep replaying that moment in my head, as if I can find a version where she doesn't move away. There isn't one. I've started to measure my nights by the sound of her shutting her door. It's become a ritual. Her door clicks. I turn off the light. I lie awake, waiting for sleep that doesn't come. Sometimes I think about leaving, just packing up and going, but I never do. There's a strange comfort in staying close to what hurts you. Maybe it's a form of control. Maybe it's just habit. Either way, I stay. When she walks through the apartment, I can sense the shift in air pressure before I even hear her. My body reacts before my mind does. It's like a reflex, a reminder that she still exists in my space, that I still exist in hers, even if she pretends otherwise. I don't know if she notices how quiet I've become. Maybe she prefers it this way. Maybe silence is easier to manage than conversation. Tonight, I heard her laugh while on the phone. A real laugh, the kind I haven't heard in months. It caught me off guard. I didn't even realize how much I missed that sound until it came back, uninvited. For a moment, I felt something sharp and bright, like jealousy or grief. I'm not sure which. Then it was gone, replaced by that dull, steady ache that follows me everywhere now. I keep telling myself that love doesn't just vanish, that it has to go somewhere. Maybe it turns into memory. Maybe it becomes something heavier, something that just sits inside you, silent and unmovable. I don't really know anymore. All I know is that every night, she closes her door, and I stay awake on the other side, waiting for a sound that never comes. It's strange how easily you can start to map a person without meaning to. I don't write anything down, not really, but my mind has started keeping track of her in ways I never used to. When she wakes up, when the shower runs, when the sound of her footsteps shifts from bare feet to shoes, the pattern of her life has become the background noise of mine. I don't plan it. It just happens. I know she usually wakes around 7:30, sometimes earlier if she's restless. I can tell by the rhythm of the bathroom fan when she stays longer in the shower when she lingers. She makes coffee the same way every time. 2 spoons of sugar, no milk. She drinks it standing up, by the window, scrolling through her phone. I used to stand beside her sometimes. Now I stay at the table, pretending to read something. She doesn't look out the window anymore, only at the glass her reflection. It's a small difference, but it feels significant. The mirror version of her seems to be the only one I get now. I notice small things, small shifts. She wears her hair differently, tied higher, looser, like she doesn't care. There's a new jacket hanging by the door, one I've never seen before. Beige, soft looking, not her usual style. It feels like a clue to a version of her that exists somewhere else. I don't ask about it. I just look at it sometimes, trying to decide whether it belongs to the person she used to be, or the one she's becoming without me. It's quieter between us now. Days pass without more than a few words. I find myself timing my movements so we don't cross paths too often. It's easier that way for both of us. I leave the apartment early, even when I don't need to. When I come home, I listen at the door before I go in, to sense the tone of the room, whether the air feels heavy or still. Most nights, I eat late. After she's gone to her room, I eat in silence, watching the faint reflection of the hallway light flicker on the surface of the table. Sometimes she leaves dishes in the sink. I wash them, not because I want to, but because it feels like a way of participating in her life. Even if she doesn't know, her absence has become its own kind of company. I start to recognize the way she closes drawers, the specific sound of it, how it's different when she's tired versus when she's irritated. I can tell the mood of her day by the way her door shuts. Firm means something didn't go right. Soft means she's distracted, not sad exactly, just elsewhere. There's a strange comfort in that kind of understanding, a wordless intimacy built out of observation. I don't think she knows how much of her remains visible even when she's trying to disappear. I've started sleeping less. It's not insomnia. Exactly, it's more like I don't want to miss anything. The apartment feels different at night. Quieter, sharper. Every sound carries. The hum of the fridge, the faint vibration of the pipes when she runs the water, the soft scrape of her chair when she moves it. I can tell which room she's in without looking. There's a strange peace in that kind of awareness, even though I know it's not healthy. When I was younger, I thought obsession looked loud, dramatic, unstable. It doesn't. It looks like stillness. It looks like knowing the shape of someone's silence better than your own. Sometimes I catch myself waiting for her to say my name, not because I need anything from her, but just to remember what it sounds like in her voice. She hasn't said it in weeks, maybe months. The last time she did, it was by accident. She was asking me to hand her something. I almost didn't move, just so I could stay inside that second a little longer. It's strange what becomes sacred when everything else starts to fall apart. I began to notice the scent of her more than before: shampoo, detergent, the faint trace of her lotion. The smell lingers in the hallway after she walks by. Sometimes it feels like she's still there when she isn't. I stand still, breathing it in like a memory I can't let go of. I know how that sounds. I know how it would read if I wrote it somewhere else. But there's nothing sinister about it. It's just attention, a focused kind of remembering. It's what happens when love has nowhere to go. She has new habits now. She listens to music while cooking something soft, unfamiliar, wordless. It fills the apartment in a way her voice used to. Once, I caught myself humming along before realizing I didn't know the song. I think she noticed, because she turned it down without looking at me. I can't tell if she's trying to keep peace or distance. Maybe both. There's a photo of us on the fridge from last year. We're smiling. My hand is on her shoulder. Sometimes I catch her glancing at it, but she never touches it. I can't bring myself to take it down. It feels like a marker of something that still exists in the air, even if it's gone from our bodies. The days blend together. Work, silence, the echo of her life unfolding beside mine, but not with it. I try to keep things normal. I clean. I buy groceries. I make dinner. Sometimes she eats a little, sometimes she doesn't. She thanks me either way. Her voice stays calm, polite, even. That tone has started to echo in my head, like an afterimage of control. I think she's trying not to hurt me, but the restraint feels like a kind of cruelty of its own. You can only pretend not to notice someone for so long before it becomes an act of erasure, and she's very good at pretending. A few nights ago, I heard her talking softly in her room, not on the phone, just talking. Maybe rehearsing something, maybe trying to say things she doesn't want me to hear. I stood in the hallway for a long time, listening to the faint rhythm of her voice without words. I couldn't make out what she said, but it sounded peaceful. That, more than anything, unsettled me. Peace means acceptance. Acceptance means I'm no longer part of her story. I started leaving earlier in the mornings after that, gave her more space. At least that's what I tell myself. The truth is, I didn't want to see her looking so calm. There's something unbearable about watching someone get better while you stay the same. I'd begun noticing small absences. The mug she used every day now sits at the back of the cabinet. Her sweater isn't on the chair anymore. Little vanishing acts that accumulate quietly. It's strange how loss doesn't happen all at once. It trickles in, one unnoticed change at a time. I don't mention it. There's nothing to say. Some nights, I still find myself in the hallway, paused halfway between my door and hers. I stand there until my thoughts slow down enough to breathe again. I don't knock. I don't speak. I just listen to the faint hum of her lamp through the wall. Sometimes I think she knows I'm there. She doesn't say anything either. That silence has its own language now. Something wordless, but mutual. There's no anger in it anymore, just distance that's settled into routine. I wonder if she feels the same, if she still registers me the way I register her, as a quiet presence in the periphery. I doubt it, but it doesn't really matter. I've grown used to the pattern, to knowing her without needing to be known in return. I used to believe that understanding someone deeply would make them stay. Now I know it only makes their absence sharper when they leave. It's late again. The clock says to 14. I can hear her turning off the kitchen light. The fridge hum dips. The hallway goes dark. Her door closes softly, not tired, not angry, just done. I stay sitting in the dark for a while after, staring at the thin line of light under her door until it disappears. That's when I realize how much I've learned about her life without her ever saying a word, and how little of mine remains outside of it. It's hard to say when I started planning to leave. Maybe it wasn't planning. Maybe it was just the natural next step after everything slowed down. I stopped marking time by her sounds. The mornings began to blur. I stopped noticing when she woke, when she left, when she came home. The map I'd built of her life started to fade at the edges. It didn't scare me. It felt like relief. The apartment got quieter. Or maybe I did. There was less to listen for. The air felt thin, emptied out. Some nights I still heard her moving around, but the noises no longer carried weight. They passed through me, harmless. I started keeping my things packed a little neater, folding shirts into a bag I never zipped. I began deleting old messages, clearing photos, closing tabs. She never asked questions. Maybe she thought I was finally accepting the break. Maybe she thought we were learning how to coexist without colliding. We spoke less, but the silences stopped feeling sharp. They just existed, like furniture you stop noticing after a while. The distance became part of the layout. One night, near the end, she left a note on the counter. It wasn't much, just said, "I'll be home late. Don't wait up." I stared at her handwriting for a long time. It looked smaller than I remembered, more cautious. I folded it neatly and slipped it into my pocket without knowing why. When she came home later, I was still awake, lights off, pretending to sleep. She walked quietly, the way you do when you think someone's dreaming. Her door clicked shut. I lay there, listening to the sound of her moving on the other side of the wall, and felt something inside me settle, like a door closing. The next morning, I woke early. She was still asleep. The apartment looked ordinary in that dim grey light before sunrise. The same dishes on the rack, the same plant by the window, but it felt different. Hollow, maybe, lighter. I made coffee, drank half, left the mug in the sink. I looked at the photo on the fridge. We were smiling, both of us leaning in just slightly, like we shared a secret. I wanted to remember that version of her, the one who hadn't yet pulled away, the one who still looked at me like she saw something worth seeing. I thought about taking the photo down. I didn't. Some traces should stay where they are. Around 8, I heard her door open. Her steps were slow, half asleep. I didn't move. She poured herself coffee, leaned on the counter, same as always. She looked toward the window. For a second, her reflection caught the light, and I could see her face clearly, the calmness, the faint confusion of waking up to quiet. Maybe she thought I was still asleep. Maybe she didn't notice the missing bag by the door. She stayed there a while, just breathing, like she could feel something was off, but couldn't name it. I watched from the hallway, unseen, not hiding, just outside her focus, the way I'd been for months. She glanced toward my room once, her eyes pausing on the open door, then moving on. I thought she might call out. She didn't. Instead she exhaled, soft and resigned, like she'd already decided what the silence meant. She didn't look angry. She didn't even look sad. Just distant, the way people look when they realize something has ended long before it's over. I waited until she turned away, then stepped back. My heart was steady. No rush, no panic. Just a strange, clean quiet spreading through me, the kind that comes after too much noise. I walked out without closing the door all the way. The hallway smelled faintly of her perfume, the same one she used to wear on weekends. Outside, the air was cold. I didn't look back. There was nothing left to see. Later, I thought about how she must have found the space I've put behind the empty shelf, The bare hook where my jacket used to hang, the absent shape like me. Maybe she stood there for a while, maybe she didn't, maybe she just made new coffee and kept moving. That's how endings really work, I think. Not with shouting or closure, but with the quiet rearranging of ordinary things. I didn't write her a note. There wasn't anything to explain. She already knew everything that mattered. That I stayed too long, that I watched her closely, that I learned her rhythms until they became my own. And when they finally changed, I had nothing left to anchor to. I still think about the sound of her door closing at night. It used to mean rejection. Now it just means quiet. A final shape to all the noise we made trying to keep something alive. Sometimes, when I wake in unfamiliar rooms, I still expect to hear her footsteps through the wall. I listen, but there's nothing, just silence. Not empty, not painful, just complete. Maybe that's what I wanted all along.